Vantage Point is here. A bunch of new cards and ideas have been introduced into the Netrunner ecosystem by the wonderful Null Signal Games. It's looking very exciting. And this is going to be my review of each and every Netrunner card that's being introduced. I've played with these cards only a tiny bit. It's been out officially 2 days now, and over that time I played a little bit of online, and I went to a great event with some lovely folks in Norwich where I played with paper cards on the day. It was absolutely fantastic fun. The way that this review is going to work is I'm going to be rating every card with a number of stars 1 through 5. And what this is relating to is my prediction on how much play this card will see, which is a very specific thing, and I feel like is going to maybe bother some people. But I think obviously you can't review cards in a vacuum, and I don't intend to. What I'm going to be talking about is how strong an effect of a card has, where it's going to be sitting in terms of like amongst other cards. How is this contributing to or creating an archetype? And then how strong is that package going to be? An example of a 1-star card might be a really funny or fun, interesting gimmick that you would never see in a tournament, but people have fun with. To me, as a competitive player, and this is a competitive rating, that would be a 1-star card in that I would look at the top 8, there would see no copies of it. I would look at the top 32 and see maybe one down the bottom. That's a 1-star card. 2-star cards is better than that. 2-star cards have seen serious experimentation. They have a level of power that is acceptable to be considered in B tier lists, or maybe briefly at the beginning of the meta in A tier lists. 3-star cards in the middle ground. They are good, a worthy include in perhaps a top tier list, but you wouldn't run 3 of them, and you wouldn't expect to see it in a top cut. Like it would be a reasonable like 45th, 44th card in a runner deck that did well or can do well, but not, like this is not a defining card, and it's not a bad card. 4 stars is better than that. Even 4 stars are the cards that are either define a B tier deck. They are so good that they are create okay archetypes that are playable and you can do well with them, or they are like one-ofs in very strong decks, or they're not quite of the level that they are making the most powerful decks, or you are enthusiastically putting 3 copies in the top tier decks, but they are so good that in those non-top tier decks they are really fantastic. And the 5-star cards, few and far between, are going to be cards that feature in the top cut. Basically, I anticipate this card will be so good that not only will you want to spend influence on it if you can, but you expect to see it in the finals of the Worlds. You expect to see it in every top cut. Example of 5-star cards that might not be super expected would be something like Clean Getaway. It's not making any archetype, but it's so good that you see it in the top cut, you see it in Worlds, you see it being people spending influence on it. It's not a flashy effect. It's just what Dirty Laundry was. It's just a couple of credits in a run. But that effect is so good. Sure Gamble is a 5-star card. Alco is a 5-star card. These are like 5 stars. And with that, let's jump into the reviews of these Anarch cards. So I'm just going to do Anarch in this video. It's going to be the first of a series of 7. No particular reason I'm starting with Anarch. It just starts with A. Okay, let's go. First card we have here in the list of Anarch cards is Chain Reaction. Chain Reaction is a payoff to hit all 3 different centrals in the same turn and play it, which does indeed mean that you need to dedicate every single click to this card. So unlike Deep Dive, you need like an extra click. This one, you don't need an extra click. You just can 1, 2, 3 Chain Reaction. You could even do it on turn 1, nothing stopping you. But the issue is, it's way worse than Deep Dive. It doesn't win you the game, or anything close to it. It trashes 2 Corp cards, and the Corp trashes 1 installed runner card. That last clause is kind of strange. It makes me think that maybe at some point in playtesting this was too strong of an effect. But to me, this is absolutely abysmal. It's not gonna win you in many board states because the decks that this is easy to do it against, like the decks that you could happily land this, are not the decks that really care about it, right? Like say Alco. You could probably chain reaction Alco turn 3, 4, 5, no problem. And you could even do that without really installing very many expensive cards. So the downside is not that big. But then you're working so hard to trash 2 Alco cards. You could have done that for like 6 credits if you wanted to. Like just trashing 2 Alco cards is not especially difficult. I think the idea of it perhaps is to reach like a critical mass of ice destruction in decks like Seb or Vampire, which is like the mulchi ice trashing Hashiko deck. And yeah, it would get you too closer towards like complete ice destruction game plan. But if you can land this, you're already doing pretty damn well, and maybe you don't need the effect anymore. I don't know. I think this is a 1-star card. I think it's absolutely terrible, but have fun with it regardless. Next up, we have Take a Dive. Now, complete switch up here. Take a Dive is an absolutely insane effect. For 2 costs, you run HQ or R&D. It has to be one of them. If successful, and a subroutine fired during that run, you get a bad pub and RFGs, so you can't just stack them, which is probably good. I think this card is crazy, absolutely crazy when you can land it, obviously. However good you think a bad pub is, it's better. I've done some math on this card, and I think to justify spending money and time taking a bad pub, you need the subroutine to have fired to be like, yeah, it's like, let's say the average subroutine firing is bad enough that you lose 3 credits. That could be a Mesnachevsko sub, it could be Grubber, it could be like like Event Horizon could do it. They would probably have to pop this just to stop that. They pop Event Horizon. Then you're spending 2 plus the 3 that you spent on the sub, tanking 5 credit loss to gain a bad pub. And that's the opportunity cost of playing like a clean getaway, right? Which would have put you up 3. So you're down 5. You could have been up 3, but then you would have had to break the subroutine. So let's change that a little bit down. But how good is that? Well, if you just use that bad pub like 7 times, as in like make 7 runs, it's paid itself off. And you actually make a lot more runs than that in the game. So if you can land this early, it's absolutely broken, especially against like asset decks where you're expecting to run many, many, many times. In fact, it's so good against asset decks that in late meta, I predict that not only will this see play, but you will not ice your centrals against as an asset deck against anarchs, because you're expecting to see Take a Dive, and it is backbreaking if you're trying to rely on the trash costs of your cards for robustness, and they're all lowered by 1 basically as soon as they take a dive. So it's kind of a warping effect in that way. Now, how easy is it to actually land? Obviously, Rio runs probably 3 of these and loves it because they want stick and poke, which makes it for free. I'll show you that in a sec. But I don't think you're going to be running stick and poke in Lou, for instance, but I think you still consider at least 1 or 2 take or dives. Bad pub is that good, and I do think this is a 4-star card. Here we have Corsair, the payoff to playing stealth in Anarch. Well, don't do that, because this card sucks. The numbers on it are absolutely abysmal. You can spend 1 to break a barrier subroutine. Okay, that's perfectly fine. 1 to bring the strength down on the barrier, which is a unique effect. Doesn't work with Chisel, but does work with Crew if you specifically want to destroy barriers. But the thing is, if you're running Crew, your slots are really tight. The Crew decks can be great, but they don't have the slots for stealth. Like, try and put this in Seb. I think he would, not enjoy it. So I don't think this makes any sense at all. It breaks Kessler Void for 3. That's completely unacceptable. It breaks Ablative for 2. totally unacceptable. Requires you to have stealth cards to even use that bottom strength boost at all. It gives you a credit with Tungsten Tailor, but who cares? It's expensive to install. It's so much worse than Rising Tide in so many cases. It's got deck building restrictions on it. This is a 1-star card. Lampades. This was another early spoil. When you install it, you place 3 power counters on it, and when you access, you can use a power counter to trash it. That whatever card it is, except for agendas, paying the cost. It's a effect that we have seen before in an old ID called Freedom, who would spend virus counters, and that was just written on the ID. Didn't have counters associated with it, and virus counters are way easier to get than stealth credits, which are like actual money. So almost bizarrely nerfed effect, considering Freedom was like good but not especially broken. It's I would have said I would consider this just to have trashed Svigator excavators because Ob was so absurdly broken. Any tech that you can run that's good against it is neat, and that way you don't actually have to run stealth. Because I do think you don't really want to be doing stealth. Stealth still doesn't really make much sense in Anarch. The only targets that I would say are like premium or like seamless launches are pretty good. Maybe you could splash out and spend 2 trashing a tattoo bowler. That's neat. But overall, I don't like this card. I don't think you want this slots of playing stealth. You have Taka in faction. Taka's good, but Taka's also just money. And just run Cup. 1-star. Hackerspace is here. Hackerspace is a 2-cost resource location where you can put your companions and connections onto it, paying 1 less. And if you have a companion and a connection, a unique connection specifically, you also get +2 maximum hand size. Wow. That's a lot of work to get +2 maximum hand size. And that is not going to save you a lot of money. The fact that this costs 2, like say you want to you don't even care about the hand size, you're just trying to get a easy marks worth of value out of this. You want to make 3 credits out of the card that you play. You would need to play this, -2. You would need to have 5 instances where you're installing a connection or companion that you already wanted to play. Like Nukas are a good example. Like that's maybe a way that you can do it, but and how long is that going to take? It's going to take you so long for this to be like +3 credits worth of card value. It's just not going to happen. There aren't that many unique connections and companions that you want. So you read the +2 maximum hand size, you think, oh my gosh, this is so good in ESSA. Yeah, that's basically the only place where you would even start to consider Hackerspace, maybe in an ESSA deck. I did build a Paule's Cafe ESSA deck that ran companions and connections. And I think someone must have seen that video and said, oh, this has to cost 2. Because this doesn't make any sense in terms of econ. You'd maybe run it in ESSA, one of it in ESSA to get the extra hand space without having to import the hippocampic mechanocytes from Shaper, because that was influence, and I'd love to spend that influence on Nuka or Simulchip or something like that. So it's probably fine there, but really this rate is just terrible, and I think this is a 2-star card just because I think it's worth experimenting with enough in ESSA that it will see a non-zero amount of play, but it's, if not for my one ESSA deck that I'm going to try it with, and maybe some other people trying it in ESSA, this would truly be a 1-star card. Here we've got Nurse Hanh, a 1-cost unique resource for your Hackerspace. No, don't do that. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but don't do that. Resource connection. Whenever 2 or more face-down cards in archives are turned face-up, draw 2 cards. Wow. Okay, 2 cards is a lot. It is an absurd number of cards for a connection to draw. If you already wanted to be running archives, is kind of what you would expect, then this is just amazing. You could easily get 6, 8, 10 card draw off of this thing in a reasonable game. I don't think you run this with no synergy, but I don't think you need as much as perhaps like you're thinking. Like it doesn't have to be a massive sabotage deck to run Nurse Hand. I think if you just have any amount, you run at least one of her. I think this goes straight into ESSA. You're probably running multiple copies of it in ESSA, and I think ESSA's much better because of this. Like Hackerspace was maybe fine, saving some influence. ESSA is better now because of Nurse Han. You can easily justify pinging archives throughout the game rather than kind of the more meta strategy of ESSA, which is like wait for it to really stink up a bit. This is a amazing card. I think I don't anticipate ESSA being like the single best runner, but this is a very compelling reason to play ESSA. You could consider running it in if Phoenix is any good, Phoenix might be okay. You definitely run Nurse. I could also see it in maybe some other decks. So it's also one influence. Like I think this is good. I think this is a 4-star card. Speaking of Ryu Phoenix being potentially decent, we have Stick and Poke. Stick and Poke is one I've talked about a little bit. If you know me, I've complained about this card, not because it's too good. The card is abysmal. It doesn't do anything. It's 0 cost, which is great, sure. Misses out on synergy with Hackerspace, though. First time in each turn you encounter a piece of ice, it gains 2 damage. And you draw a card. Yeah, so this doesn't do much. If you want to mulligan your hand, this is a really slow way to do it. You know, moshing was a really strong effect, too strong for the game, but a big part of moshing was that it cost 0 and gave you 3 credits, and had a neat effect that was fast, stapled on top of it, and you could pick the targets. So don't really consider this anywhere unless a subroutine firing is a huge part of your win con. And with Take a Dive, maybe you think about it. I don't know. I think for slots reasons outside of Phoenix, who needs this, you don't run this, you just try and figure out how to make Take a Dive work depending on the deck. And if you're against Orb or Wayland who just don't like happen not to be running anything aside from in the runs, you just throw it away. Like it just won't work. But Stick and Poke in Phoenix makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately, the reason why I complain about this card is that I thought Phoenix was such a cool and interesting ID, really unique tech that pushed a really aggressive, fun, unique playstyle, especially for new players. But I always love facing a Phoenix because I put these ice in my Corp deck thinking like, oh great, I want these effects to occur. I want these things to happen. And they never do, right? Like everyone just breaks most subroutines. They install their breakers or they install their boomerangs and whatever. They get through your ice, and that's fine. So they're just stats. But Phoenix says, oh no, I care deeply what your ice is doing. I'm looking at every subroutine and deciding like, can I let you have this? And as a corp, I'm so excited to see which of my subs get to fire. And as a runner, making these interesting decisions. I think this card single-handedly transforms Phoenix into a much better ID, a much better thing to be doing. In fact, maybe up there with the best. I think it's either going to be Phoenix, Topan, or Lu as like obviously one of them as the premium reg ID. I suspect Lu is going to take the cake of like you can just put all the Hishiko cards into this plus some Gormons and you'll win games with it and it will be the best package. But Phoenix is not way off anymore with this. I'm just sad that the interesting thing about Phoenix is gone. Anyway, I anticipate Phoenix really only being okay. I don't think they will be as good as Lu. So this is just going to be a 3-star card for being a strong enabler in a okay deck. And that's it for the Vantage Point Anarch card pool. I hope you enjoyed that recap. I hope that I am right about these, at least somewhat. The question marks to me is Take a Dive could be better than I'm thinking, could be worse than I'm thinking, depending on whether the card pool like ends up favoring it. It may simply be that Take a Dive is not playable because people aren't icing centrals, or it may be that Take a Dive just doesn't land early enough. But again, if it lands early, this is the craziest thing. Yep, there will be another one soon. I think I'm going to go through all the runners before the corpse, and yeah, catch you in the next one. Bye.